Hello, and I'm Mark, and this is PSYC3020. And if you remember, in the second lecture, we ran out of time when I reached the very last slide. So I did say I was going to cover that at the beginning of lecture 3, but I thought rather than carving into lecture 3 time, might as well just make a little video just to cover that last slide so you can get that sooner rather than later. So here we go. So if you remember, we were talking about norm-referenced versus criterion-referenced tests. So norm-referenced tests is where the test score is calculated relative to some reference sample. So that is, the score always is interpreted relative to other people. And the contrast to that are criterion reference tests, where the raw score you get out of the test is a test score. So that is, you're not scored relative to other people. So norm reference tests would include the sort of things that we generally talked about in lecture 2, like IQ tests, for example. However, an example of criterion reference test would say be the driver licensing test, where you take your driving test, and as long as you pass some minimum absolute standard of safety, then you'll pass the test, and that's independent of how everybody else does on the test. So another example of a criterion reference test would be the final examination in this course. In fact, any assessments at UQ, they're all criterion referenced because in principle everybody could get a grade 7 or everybody could get a grade 3. Your score isn't influenced by how everybody else in the class does. So if everybody in the class does really well, then we'll have an average that is very high. If everybody in the class does very poorly, we'll have an average which is very low. Okay, so final slide was just to try and illustrate this using a concrete example. So what I did was pick an example that I thought that you would would mean something to you, which is scores on PSYC3020 from times gone past. Okay, so what we can see up here is two graphs, and these are the grade scores for PSYC3020 for one semester on the left and for another semester on the right. Okay, so what can we tell just by looking at these scores? Okay, so first up, let's look at the past PSYC3020 results, one on the left. So you can see there that most people, so the mode of that distribution is a grade 4. Most people are getting a grade 4. The second highest frequency grade is grade 5. Less people getting grade 6, less people getting grade 7, but even fewer people getting a grade 3. Okay, in the next semester, which is the panel on the right, we can see we've got a bit of a different distribution. So that means that most people are getting a grade 5, slightly smaller number of people are getting either a grade 4 or a grade 6, and a small number of people are getting grade 7 and grade 3. We've got various different options here. Okay, so first thing this could mean is that the students in this second class here, okay, maybe everything else is pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is that the students in this class are smarter. Okay, incidentally, if we see the data and the data's like this, it's got to mean that it's criterion referenced. If it was norm referenced, then the two distributions would be the same as one another. Okay, so definitely it's got to be a criterion reference test, and it could just be that everything, the course is the same, the assessments are the same, the teaching is the same. Only difference here is that the students are much smarter in the second cohort, and that's shifted the distribution over there to the right. Right, but there are other options. So second thing it might possibly mean is that the students are exactly the same from one semester to the next, and the thing that's changed are the examinations and the assessments. So that is, they've actually, in the second semester, that would mean that they had become easier because you can see the grades here on average have gone up. So they've gone up not because the students are any better, they've just gone up because the assessments are easier, so people are getting higher scores that way. Right, third option is that the exams are the same, the students are the same, but what's changed is the teaching quality. So in this first semester, course was taught in a sort of boring old bog standard way, and in this second semester the teaching was much improved, teaching techniques were improved, modern teaching interventions were brought in, low stakes quizzes, etc., and that's the thing that's having the effect on the score. So that the assessments haven't been made easier, the students aren't any brighter, but they're just getting a better learning experience. Okay, so those are the three options, and of course in reality it could be not just one of those, it could be any combination of 2 or 3 of those that could be having the effect. And the point is, by just looking at the data like this, we can't actually tell without gathering further information which combination of these options is accounting for that difference. Okay, and just as a final aside, at the end of this course I'll calculate a percentage for each of you based on all of your assessments, overall percentage mark for the course, and we'll convert this into a grade according to the cut-offs in the electronic course profile, as per usual. So that conversion of percentage to grade is technically what we referred to in lecture 2 as a non-linear transformation. Okay, so that is, if I, instead of plotting the grades up here in these graphs, I plotted a percentage mark, the distribution, the shape of those graphs would change. It's a non-linear distribution. Okay, and part of the reason for that is that each of the grades, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, etc., they cover different ranges of percentage marks, and so you end up effectively having the effect of essentially squeezing some bits of the scale and stretching out other bits, the very definition of a non-linear distribution. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of lecture 2 properly now, and I'll see you next time in lecture 3.